what a remarkable, I want to say day and a half, but it wasn't even that. It is less than 24 hours since we began. By my count, 40 people have spoken. And I was recently at something where the closing person decided that they would summarize each of the speeches made. And I started making notes this morning, and I've decided that would be a very bad idea, actually, for a very good reason. The richness of the conversations that took place in this room last night and all day today is not something that I would try and summarize. I think we had some good summaries from the people moderating the panels, but I do take away a couple of broad observations. One is that I think this topic and this issue and this endeavor, this enterprise, is upon us, and it is timely, and it is important, and it has traction. So I didn't hear a single voice of the 40 say, you know, this really isn't something we need to do. I heard every variation on how we should do it, and exactly how we should define it, and which things we were sure of and which things we're still grappling to define. But I didn't hear anyone say, you know, there's really more important things to do than this. So I think the time has come for not only patient-oriented research, and I think Steny said it well, but the things that lead up to that and the things that flow from that. There were some words that I would use. I did like Leslie Thompson's wow, because there were a lot of wow moments when the researchers were presenting and others were presenting where you just thought, you know, wow, so 300,000 people might get strapped to backboards, and it turns out that's actually not only not good for them, but could actually be harmful. And that was one ugly-looking bed sore, I got to say, maybe reminds me why I'm an economist, not a clinician. But the other word was hope, and that word was present a lot, not always spoken, but in the comments people made and the aspirations they have for the work they're doing, and for the patients who spoke as patients in the room, their hope that their experience would be for someone else a better experience if we achieve the aspirations discussed here, that there would be improvement. So I want to conclude on a hopeful note. I hope that the aspirations that have been set out are fully realized. I know there's lots to be done, and yes, it's messy. If it weren't messy, then we wouldn't be as diverse a group. It would be down the road, I hope at some point, not so messy, or at least the mess is confined to some aspects. But because it's new and because we're all finding our ways through this policy field and through this research endeavor, I think it's bound to be messy for a time. We'll take a lot of goodwill. We'll take a lot of tolerance for things to not succeed and yet not to be written off as having been not worth attempting in the first place. And we've got a very big sector out there. I mean, 350,000 people got out of bed this morning. Only 100 and some of you came here. The others all went to work in the healthcare sector, largely doing what they did the day before. And to bring about any kind of change, we're climbing a very big, I don't know if you can say mountain of inertia. That's a mixed metaphor, but it's a great deal of inertia that keeps bringing any large system, including a health system, back to doing over again what it did before. And so we have, a great challenge in convincing that system to take on board the findings that come from all of this, to actually put them to use and to action, and to listen in a very different way to patients. And there is no one patient voice. There will be a diversity, and we may be able to cluster them, but I think what I've heard repeatedly through the day and a bit is that we shouldn't try and categorize a single patient voice. We need to find ways of listening more broadly. But I come away with this more hopeful than I came into it. I found it inspiring. I found it exhausting, but inspiring. There's a great deal to take in, and I believe we'll all be rolling up our sleeves and working, whether on the individual research projects or on the next round of what will come. So I want to thank everyone who came for putting in their time, putting aside other things. I want to particularly thank the people that spoke and moderated. And finally, I extend my deepest thanks to Vasanthi and her team who organized all of this. It went off flawlessly, and I think we all go away better than we came in terms of informed about these issues. So thank you all.